The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. Hard to believe that it's already been 12 weeks here in the American Muscle Series and our inaugural coverage of them here on PTR TV. We've seen some amazing races, some physical racing, some drama, and ultimately we have enjoyed every last minute of what we've covered, but it must come to a close. Tonight from Mount Panorama, Bathurst, we are going to crown two champions, one in amateur class and of course one in the pro division. While amateur may be wrapped up, you never know what could happen. We may have ourselves a pro championship battle. We'll welcome everybody to PTR TV for tonight's coverage of the season finale for season number 6 of the American Muscle Series, and happy to give you all the coverage. Back after a week off, Andre's back in the booth with me to call tonight's race. So Andre, I know you missed last week at Laguna Seca, and you missed the race that Matt Malone put it in victory lane. And while Matt Malone can't go for the championship, he certainly can go 2 for 2, but Iro Nam, he's going to want double duty, getting the championship and the race win.
Yeah, I did miss that. I was a little bit caught up last week. Only one race missed this season. It's, got a bad track record, but I am excited to be back, especially for the season finale here. You talked about Iro Nam coming in with the points lead. Barring disaster, he's looking pretty good for the championship tonight, and if he can get the win and the championship, well, then that's going to be all the better. You can see there is the pro points with the drop weeks. Iro Nam currently has a 9-point lead over Sanchez. Fabian Zweier is going to be third. He is mathematically barred from first or second, but it is a battle for third. Matt Malone fourth in points, Luis Henriquez, Kevin Parrish, Randall McGrew, Nick Beaver, Evan Hubchak, and Ian Lane running out the top 10. And for amateur points, that is pretty much wrapped up as well. Chuck Labano is coming in with a 22-point lead over Charles Hosea, which technically Hosea could get it if disaster struck for Labano, but again, looking very good. Hosea P2, Matt Thompson in third. He's just 2 points back from Charles Hosea. Dave Blair in fourth, Mike Thompson, Levi Powell, Aaron That Face Bray, Mark Royce, Jay Little, and Jeff Andrus in the top 10 for the amateurs. And somebody in both classes is going to be walking away with a championship here at the Mountain tonight.
Yeah, and there still is, stuff on the line. I think for the top 3 in each class, if memory serves, there is the Clean Race Award as well. So many things to fight for, even if not for a championship here on the evening. And again, last week's race, it was physical at times, and ultimately Jack Sanchez lost the race. I know you didn't get to see this, Andre, but he lost the race basically on a hardware fault. He said he put the car in gear. His car registered it was in gear, but for some reason it wouldn't bite in gear. He said there may have been some sensor issues with his shifter there, so ultimately lost the race. Kind of on a technicality, and you have to think if that didn't happen, maybe he was going to be a little bit closer to putting it in victory lane. But you can see here entering the pits here, getting some last-minute practice. We know that pit entry has been rather difficult here, and here at Bathurst, you could tell it's almost like a couple S-curves in a chicane, and I don't think that's what you're going to want to see on your real-life pit stop.
Yeah, it's narrow, it's downhill, there's multiple turns to get into pit road. That seems like a bit of a nightmare to navigate, especially under the pressure of an actual race scenario, so we'll see how they are able to handle
home track. I forgot for Reese. Reese, you got some pressure on you tonight, bro. We're in your neck of the woods. But his ping's still going to be terrible because we're racing in America. But I bet he'll want to have a good run here. But Iro Nam, not much of a surprise. I think we may get a second of it here on the board. You can see a 2:24 for Iro. Got about a half a second in the basket there over whoever it was. I want to say it was Matt Malone there. So Eero definitely coming out flying here, and I'm actually surprised. I know there was a couple tracks this season, Andre, that we had the longer qualifying because of the long lap here, but we only have 10 minutes here. So they're really only going to have, a 2.5 minute out lap, maybe 2 flyers if you're lucky.
Yeah, so they're going to be kind of on the clock here. They're not going to have much room for error. They want to get their laps as clean as possible from the get-go. It is very long lap times up and down the mountain here at Bathurst.
Even look at this. Look, exiting the pitch. Just look at this dip right here. The last camera we had really showed it quite well.
Yeah.
I almost feel like you'd get your belly going up there, because the climb to the mountain here, I don't know the exact elevation changes. I mean, and maybe if Andre is willing to pop a goog for us, but you literally are climbing probably a couple thousand, maybe at least 1,000 feet, somewhere in that vicinity, coming right to the top of the hill here. I think the peak of it is called right up here at Skyline, appropriately enough. Then you start the crest down the mountain and ultimately through the forest here, as these cameras don't always work for me. And then you finally come down, and this is where things start to get tricky, into the Dipper. And then once you exit the Dipper, now you head into the super sketchy. You're falling down the mountain here with walls on each side.
So I just popped a Goog. We're looking at 571 feet of elevation change, or if you prefer made-up units, it's going to be 174 meters. Is going to be your difference in the highest point on the track and the lowest.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that'll... Is it made up units because we are the only civilized country that uses that system? So does that mean we are the smartest people? Or does that mean we are the most stubborn?
USA.
No. I got thoughts, but I don't want to turn this political at all. So I will bite my tongue here. I am a fellow American, but there's things you could say about our good old red, white, and blue land here, but we will not say them here on air because I don't want to get canceled here. But I think we are on our outlap for some of these guys right now, and unfortunately we won't be able to do... I know, Andre, attendance has just absolutely fallen just to drastic levels in this series. We started about 57 cars. We're going to end the season at 40. I mean, oh my goodness. I mean, what are we going to have to call here tonight? So we won't be able to do our 42th award. We'll have to retort to our unnamed 27th place driver for our back of the race prize here tonight.
Yeah, 40 drivers still going to be quite hectic here at this track. It is so narrow. I mean, going up the mountain and then especially back down where the visibility is particularly low, you don't have a whole lot of room for error. It's going to be tough to pass. I think this is going to be very much a qualifying track, but there are a few high-speed chicanes and a little bit of a wider section in the final sector that do open up the opportunity to get around somebody if you need to. Mostly these drivers are going to be racing the track more than they're going to be racing each other, because just making a lap around this track by yourself is an achievement in and of itself, let alone when you're racing 40 other people. You can see there is Beaver, probably not in 10th place yet. I don't think he's posted a lap, so you can see he's following the line, using that curb inches from the wall, and unlike a lot of tracks, there's really no runoff on either side. It's just wall on both sides. It's all wall all the time, no fun if you make a mistake.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, there will be a couple. Obviously, this section up here, if you're gonna pass, you're just gonna... The brass cajones are going to have to do all the work for you, because there's just not a lot of room. And I'm sure, as you can see, a little bit of slideways there from, that's Chuck Labano. You're going to see side by side through here, but these guys are going to be clenching off for it. But then the opportunities do come up here at the exit of turn number 18. Turn number 18, the Dipper into Forest's Elbow. And that opens you on to the Conrad Straight, which is the second longest straightaway next to the mountain. Actually, it is the longest straightaway, pardon me. The Conrad Straight, that's where he is right now. And this will be the best opportunity to get something going with the slipstream. You head up and down all the way to the end, and then you'll head up a little bit of a crest here into the Chase, which is a modest chicane here that'll get you to hop some curbs, and then you'll head into Murray's Corner. So a little bit of a shoot here of sorts, hard 90 degrees, right-hand corner braking zone, as we do have some times going on the board right here. Let's see preliminarily. Jack Sanchez is top of the board, but just going to be waiting for Eero. Eero, 0.3 off, but lap 2 is always faster once the tires have some heat in them.
And it does look like lap 2 is going to be just about all they get. So if he's going to improve and take that pole time, then it's going to have to be now. Randall McGrew coming to complete his lap through that tight left-hander into the sweeping right-hander. Then it's going to be one more left-hander at the end of this straightaway, and then straight shot to the start-finish line as we go on board. We'll see where his time stacks up. Don't think it's quite going to be a pole time, but as he exits the corner, ooh, yeah, that's not going to be a pole time at all.
Yeah, this is going to be this is one of those circuits as well that we do use 2 timing lines. So we will have our grid start line, which is further up the straightaway, but our actual race timing line is that first timing line that you saw McGrew there before all the grid spots. So just kind of the little nuances here, because otherwise you would not have nearly enough space to get these guys gridded up, because I think that will probably happen anyways. But Jack Sanchez, there is a point for the pole, so he will want to try and get something here, and he is just going full send through the dipper. Oh my goodness, again, no fear. I remember, Andre, there was a clip back in 2010, I can't remember who he drove with, but DW was in a V8 supercar with somebody here, and he just kept saying, this corner is dumb. Why would they build a track here? He was absolutely terrified. I want to say it was with Van Gisbergen, maybe. I can't remember, but that was a good YouTube clip.
Yeah, definitely. This track is scary, and Jack Sanchez showing us why, just about getting airborne on some of these hills coming down the mountain. But also, Corey, how about the home track hero, Reese Gartner? He's currently sitting 3rd in that 94. That would be his best qualifying effort of the year, I'm pretty sure. So he is really booking it around this place and not too far off the pole.
Yeah, I can't remember. It wasn't last week, but 2 weeks ago, he had a fabulous run. I think he was top 5, top 6 most of the race. Again, this memory just doesn't go back that far, but he's definitely been better in the second half of the season rather than being a 15th, 20th place car. I'd say he's been closer to a 10th to 15th place car with some shining lights. It was Mossport, as a matter of fact, it was, that he had that great run here. So Eero Nam in Eero Nam fashion did manage to get the pole by 2/100ths of a second, and Jack Sanchez ain't going to have it here today. So 2/100ths of a second, that pivotal point that will give Eero Nam just that little bit more of a buffer here on the evening. And Taco Phil, he's back post Eclipse. First time we've seen Taco Phil here, and I don't know if that lap will count, but some of these guys may be able to get a lap in here. There's still 2 minutes, so depending where they are on circuit, it's gonna be pretty close, but some guys might get this last lap in.
Yeah, Sedengo looks like he should have enough time to get his lap in. See if he can improve. He's currently sitting P11, 2:26.49, and in fact, everybody in the top 15, everybody except for the top 2 is in the 2:26 bracket. Of course, Eero Nam and Jack Sanchez alone in the 25-second bracket, but really close lap times, Corey, from the front to the back, which I did not expect for this circuit. Being as difficult as it is, you kind of expect the skill ceiling to be a little bit higher, get a little bit of separation in lap times. No, these drivers are pretty much right on each other, so this is going to be quite something if the qualifying times tell the story.
It's just breathtaking watching this. I mean, let alone, obviously, we're just in a simulator, and it's still just that intense to watch, just let alone imagine with the real drivers here, especially, we're only in a Ford Mustang, let alone what a GT3 or a V8 supercar does around this place. But now Luis Henriquez in a battle off the clock. He's only a half second off the pole. You got Matt Malone. Math is hard, Andre. Math is hard. I think he's coming to the end of the Conrad Straight, so this lap potentially should probably count if he can make it better, but I think Luis Henriquez will be first. So let's see if he can get a little bit higher than 7th here on the pylon, heading into the chase, and then eventually into Murray's Corner, turn number 23 here. Yeah, in a battle against the clock, but it should count.
Well, and I don't know what the track limits are there. You saw he had 2 tires in the grass. I would hope this lap still counts, but sometimes iRacing can be finicky. It will be a 26.402 which is going to keep him 7th on the board. Here comes Matt Malone in the last few seconds, but it's not going to be enough at 28.
Not going to make it. Oh.
No, valiant effort. He was close, but not quite going to get there.
All right, but that is going to be our qualifying session. So for the final time in Season 6, let's go down trackside and give you that PTR TV starting lineup here today for the first time this season from the continent of Australia. Starting today's race on the front row is going to be our championship battle. Eero Nom snuck that last second pole point away from Jack Sanchez there in second. Third, we have the hometown boy, Reese Gardner. He's going to be in third with Matt Malone, last week's winner, rolling off in the 4th spot. Fifth, we find Nick Beaver. What's he doing in 5th? He's half of where he should be. You got David Fench in 6th. Luis Henriquez in 7th. Phil Keck, he's back from the Eclipse, and he's back on Taco Tuesday in 8th. And then Randall McGrew and then David Moore rounding out our top 10.
Outside the top 10, Luke Sedenga, P11. Ian Lane is going to be 12th in the Pizza Mobile. P13 finds the Lumberjack, Kevin Parrish, and he's got Neil Kemp to his outside. 14th. 15th finds Evan Hoopchok. Matt Thompson is going to be P16. 17th is going to be Dahan O'Toole in the 29 machine. David Fernandez is going to be 18th. Running at the top 20, Chuck Labano, P19, and Greg Hartman, P20.
21st finds Jeff Andrews, and then in the number 22nd spot, we have Aaron That Face Bray. In the 23rd spot, Matthew Guzenda with Ed Sanchinelli in the 24th position. 25th is Mark Royce and another fellow Aussie there, Jeff Besnard, in 26th. 27th, Charles Hosea. What is he doing back there? You got to give him that Andre Luck there, buddy. Adam Freese in 28th, and rounding out our top 30, Mike Neekum and then Levi Powell.
31st is going to go to Stefan Price. Jay Little is 32nd. P33 finds Brandon Smith. Dave Blair is going to be at 34th to his outside. Antoine Soretsky, 35th. Tom Wendt is going to be at P36. 37th finds Kenneth Stepp. He's right next to Scott Brooks in 38th. Running out the rest of the field, Greg Brockway in 39th. And shotgun on the pack, it's going to be John Casey in the 178.
How many times has John Casey not been last this season? And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way, but I almost wonder if it's intentional. Just stay out of the carnage, stay out of the chaos. And speaking of chaos, this one will be interesting because you can see here from this shot there, Andre, that we only probably have about half the field on the actual front straightaway, with the rest of them, let's say we're going back to Labano, right around Ed Sanchinelli, and everybody behind Sanchinelli 25th on back, they're not even on the same straightaway. They're actually a corner back, so that makes things a little bit interesting. But very quickly, our weather conditions here from Australia: 81 in the air, 116, now 117 on the track, 142 sim time. No fog, it's the humidity. We had some dry air here today and very little wind.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be a little bit windier on the mountain, but, maybe it's different up top than it is down here on the straightaway. Who knows? But we are still waiting on a few cars to grid up here up front. Of course, they do have about 60 seconds to spawn in. I don't know if that's just the way they're staggered as far as iRacing is concerned, or if that's actually them not appearing here. But Jack Sanchez not on the grid there in P2. There we go. Now he's appearing. So just a little bit of a late entrance.
Last second Larry's here today.
I know nothing about that. I would never.
Would you? Have I ever? Well, maybe a couple times here. But at this point, we should be getting ready. And we're in your home country, and you're still blinking there, Reese. Come on, buddy. Someone sent him an Australian online disc. I don't know what it is, but hopefully that does clear up maybe under green. I never understood why that happens, but sometimes people say connections clear up under the green flag. We'll see if that happens. But season number 6 of the American Muscle Series has one more race to go, and we're going to get ready for a night of fun. Let's see who the champion's going to be. Let's crown him on the mountain here today. Waiting for Barney to get us that green signal, and there it goes. We're racing here at Bathurst.
And it looks like the connection issues have sorted out temporarily for Reese Gardner, although he is going to drop potentially a position as we have a battle for third. Matt Malone on the outside trying to take it away from him. Don't think he quite got there, but keeping on the stationary camera turn 1. Everybody's able to navigate it without too many issues, and already a challenge for the lead. You see Jack Sanchez diving out of line before we get to the dip here in the straightaway. He's not quite going to get to the quarter panel. Can't pull him back. He's going to have to follow him up the mountain. Bit of a gap back to third place Reese Gardner, who was able to fend off Matt Malone. And, well, I said he was going to have to follow him up the mountain, but Jack didn't want to do much following. He wants to try to pass, Corey.
Yeah, he brought the brass cajones here today. This is, he door tapped him there, heading up the hill into the cutting. Yet he needs every last bit of points he can get, and door tapping on lap number 1, not intentionally. He's just trying to, basically fit 2 cars into one lane there, but ultimately falls back in line, heading up the first climb here on the evening.
Okay, so this is kind of unrelated, Corey, but when you said he can get his own version of AOL, I got thinking, did AOL exist in Australia? So I popped a quick Google, because it would still be the same acronym, Australia Online. They called it AOL Australia. They called it America Online Australia instead of just keeping it Australia Online AOL. That is going to haunt my dreams forever. But in the meantime, the battle for the lead continuing as Jack Sanchez on the bumper. He was not able to complete the pass, but I think he might have scraped the wall. Corner or two ago.
Speaking of hitting the wall.
Scraping the wall.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's trying to change the fender flare here. Coming down the Conrad straight for the first time here. You can see the draft coming into play. Now, will he decide to go pull to the right? Yes, indeed he will. He may clear him here before we get into the chase. Coming down the dip. Now we're getting ready for the little chicane. And that is a lead change here. So again, Jack Sanchez wants everything he can get. He wants that lead lap point. And thus far, he will have stopped Ero from getting it, so that'll make it a draw here on bonus points, at least as of lap 1.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough race for Jack Sanchez because he can lead this race and he can win this race, but it's got to go better than that. He has to hope that Ero Nam has some sort of misfortune that puts him way back in the field to even hope to get enough points. So he's doing what he needs to do. Now it's in the hands of fate. Even then, Ero Nam not really letting him get away, so I don't think it's going to be a situation of I'm going to put him in my rearview mirror and I'm not going to think about it. He is going to have to battle for it as these drivers are really using that grass curve.
I was just going to say, you could probably count who stayed on the track more difficult than who went off of it there, so clearly track limits a little bit loose there. But David Fench, another driver who has turned the wick up later in the season. He had a great run at Laguna Seca last week. He was right around the top 10. I don't remember where he finished, but I know he was right around the top 10 most of the race. There goes Nick Beaver scraping the concrete there. But Fench, he's trying to kiss the edge of the top 5 here. He's trying to put Beaver back to his normality of 10th place here. Beaver still in 5th. But again, I'm very impressed by that 35 as of the end of the season.
Yeah, David Fench has been doing a lot better, and I like that paint scheme too. Very simple paint scheme, but I like the touch of the green door handles. Really makes it pop. More contact with the wall a little bit further back. It might have been the Pizza Mobile right in front of the Lumberjack. Not quite sure exactly who it was. That's just what it kind of looked like. But we're going to see a lot of that tonight. You can kind of consider this the Darlington of road courses. If you leave without a scrape on the side of your car, you're doing well. For the most part, as we go on board with Brandon McGrew. This is a camera shot, Corey. Look at this. Down the roller coaster, down the mountain, a line of cars, bumper to bumper, zero room for error. One mistake. If somebody brakes a little bit too late, if somebody brakes a little bit too early, somebody steers too much, too little, it's all chaos. It's all disaster. Somehow we've avoided that, but man, what a camera shot.
And that was the best view of the 3 gentlemen of sorts that we saw there. But up front, again, Conrad straight. That's our draft straightaway. That's where our passes are going to be made here predominantly. And Ero pulling the same car that Jack pulled there, but Jack's trying to stay within range here to dive him onto the braking zone into the chase. He will do just that. Here comes Reese Gardner. He's throwing his hat in the ring. And Sanchez will fend off the challenge for now as we head into Murray's Corner 23.
And this is exactly what Sanchez wants. Reese Gardner catching up to Ero Nam. You know Reese wants to get every pass he can. This is his home track. He wants to do well. So he's going to get aggressive. Obviously, he's going to be respectful of the championship battle, but at the same time, he's not going to let somebody stay ahead of him or let somebody win the race just because they are a part of a championship battle. He wants to get that trophy for himself, and that aggression is, possibly going to put Ero another position back, which is another point in Jack Sanchez's pocket if he can get him. But we'll have to wait and see how that plays out as Randall McGrew trying to make a pass on Taco Phil down low over the dip. Now this is going to be actually on the high side once they get to this corner. It looks like Taco Phil will duck back in line, not quite able to make the move. David Finch, Nick Beaver, here's some more side-by-side. Finch going way wide. He's going to concede 2 positions as Henriquez also sneaks by on the outside. That was a very scary moment. I don't think the 35 meant to go quite that wide, but he gathered it up nonetheless. A little bit of a, oh no, that purple paint is a little bit scraped up on the side there, Corey.
Yeah, as you said, the Darlington of road racing here. So he's got his Bathurst, I mean, it's not a Bathurst stripe. You need a, somehow I can't say Bathurst bang because that just sounds completely wrong. So we will come up with a better terminology to relate hitting the concrete here, very slightly. But coming back a little bit further in the field, Kevin Parrish, he's in 12th, which doesn't sound too bad, but for Kevin Parrish standards, he's usually within the top 7, 8, if not higher than that. So he's going to want to pull off some stuff there. Dehano Toot, I haven't talked about him yet. He's back at 17th, and just relating our first amateur driver on the evening. That's going to be just in front of Dan there. That's going to be Matt Thompson, currently in 16th, and our likely champion, Chuck Labano. He is currently in 19th, has a ways up on Charles Hosea, who is actually out of the race.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Charles Hosea. I don't know if that was a incident that occurred. We'll take a look at the PTR TV replay.
This is the only trigger that I have.
He pulled off.
Yeah.
So I don't know if... Do you think he blew the engine, Corey?
I did. I mean, we didn't see a poof, so I would not think so, but that was the only trigger he had. We're on lap number 3, and he's 3 laps down, so he pulled off on the very start of the race. Perhaps he might come into our socials and our YouTube and perhaps let us know, but that will cement the championship without really any contest there. So Chuck Labano will provisionally be our amateur champion here, but Jack Sanchez, he's just going to play the defensive champions here. He's going to do everything he can to stop Ironam from leading a lap here and getting that bonus point taken away. But ultimately, Iro's going to have to finish probably, I'd say, at least 10th to get out of this to have any chance for Sanchez. So I really don't think it's going to matter, but you never know if maybe Reese starts to make a move, a connectivity issue comes into play. You never know, but you never want to wish that fortune. Iro's obviously had a great season.
Update on Charles Hosea. He did post in the Discord it's a shifter issue. So whether or not he just couldn't get it into gear or what was going on there. But his Fanatec shifter decided that tonight of all nights would be the night to give up the ghost. So
Jack must have the same one.
Yeah, there's a lot of shifter issues, but I mean, I guess it makes sense. These guys in these Mustangs, man, they got to be abusing those shifters as much as they are shifting around these road courses.
Just going back a little bit further in the field, giving everybody a little bit of love here. You got Adam Freese in that number 102, Mike Neekum here in that 57. They're battling along with Jeff Besnard. Besnard, the other Aussie, but again, the one thing that I always remember about him, his fact is it is ingrained in my mind. He's ingrained in my brine, in my turkey fluid there. Geriatric racer, 74 years old, and if any track on the schedule is going to push a 74-year-old to their limit, it is certainly going to be this place.
This track would push, I think, a 20-year-old to their limit, let alone a 74-year-old. So big props for showing up and clicking off great laps to boot as he continues his way around Mount Panorama here. The battle for the lead starting to kind of dissipate a little bit. Ironam half a second back, if you can call that falling back. It's still pretty dang close, Reese Gardner there. But I'll tell you what, Luis Enriquez, he has picked up quite a few positions from where he qualified, Corey. He has got a fast Mustang, and he is closing in now on Matt Malone. So don't count this guy out quite yet. He has been on the move, making passes at a track where we didn't think he'd be making a whole lot of passes.
Yep, right here, that's a really good opportunity, getting out of Murray's corner onto the front straightaway and then into turn number 1, Hell's Corner here, which of every corner on this track to be named Hell's Corner, this is one of the easiest ones, so I don't quite get the naming conventions there, but again, leading us down the mountain straight, and very accurate title because you literally just drop what feels like 100 feet here in just an instant here, heading down the heading down the front straightaway on board with Enriquez there, and the camera shots make that a lot more drastic than the cockpit shots do, but a very big dip heading into turn number 2, which is Quarry here, as we rise to the top of the hill here for lap number 5.
Hard to believe it's been 5 laps already. But I'm sure these drivers probably feel like it's been 100 laps as much as they got to be up on the wheel. Easily one of the most physically demanding tracks that we've had all year, and it's the track we're ending the season on. Very fitting as that battle between Matt Malone and Reese Gardner continues on. Henriquez not quite reeling him in yet, but give him time. Nick Beaver in P6. So again, avoiding the 10th place curse, but we're going on board now with Iro Nam, who is just following Sanchez. This is all Iro has to do. He doesn't have to win. He doesn't even have to finish 3rd, 4th, 5th. As long as he's inside the top 10, like you said, Corey, he's all right. So I would not expect a lot of aggression out of Iro Nam. I think he's going to try to, okay, into the wall he goes. And here comes Reese Gardner. Take that back, Corey. I guess there's aggression there. He drove it in a little bit too deep, got into the wall, scuffed the momentum. And now that is allowing Gardner to make another attempt at it. But here's what I'm thinking, Corey. As many cars are bouncing off the wall, as many issues as we've had with that tonight, iRacing does have an accumulative damage model. The more you beat the car into the wall, even if it's just a number of small hits, they add up over time, and eventually something's going to break. So these drivers, they're taking these small taps to the wall, but they add up, and they got to be thinking about that.
Yeah, exactly that. Eventually you break something in the suspension, get the toe off, or... David Finch! No. We were just boasting about him earlier. That's Randall McGrew. He was trying to, retain some points there. He was, I think, somewhere in the top 5 in the point standings. We'll check out what happened to Mr. Finch here. We were just boasting about him not that long ago. And,
man.
Yeah, someone took the send it juice here into the corner there. I'm not sure. I mean, from our perspective, it looks like Randall went full send in there, but perhaps maybe
Randall thought the same, because he slowed down. If you notice, he stopped and let Finch get back ahead of him. That was some sportsmanship right there. That was I messed up, I'm sorry. You see that a lot in RC car racing too. If somebody gets into it, they will wait for you to get back out front. So I don't think, obviously, Randall, being the owner of the league, he did not mean to do that, but just a bit of a unfortunate error, and we have these heavy braking zones. It's going to happen.
Yeah, you just never know. From our perspective, we didn't really get to see what happened in front of that, so there may have been a slow-up that, changed the braking zone beyond what Randall was expecting. Of course, the culmination of effects came, and luckily, no real damage. Speaking of which, we got a track block here, and Neil Kemp. Neil Kemp made a very good decision, and he took one for the team there, because there was going to be nowhere to go if he did not move. That literally would have blocked the entire track up for about 20th on back.
Yeah, there's a lot of clips on YouTube of this track being blocked in real life, and as Dan O'Toole, Matt Thompson, even Finch getting around there on the outside, he picked up a few positions from that mishap. But you're exactly right, took one for the team. I would not want to be in that situation, trying to decide between, do I even try to get this car pointed in the right direction, or do I just tow? And I think the correct choice was to tow there. So kind of I know what I must do, I just don't know if I have the strength kind of situation. And he had the strength to do it. So track is clear now, as Dan, who was involved in that incident there, he is continuing on. He's got Matt Thompson right behind. There's Randall McGrew, again, involved in that incident with the car at the top of your frame, David Finch. And Finch trying to get a little bit further up the field, reclaim some of those positions he lost. He fell so far back from where he was up inside the top 5. How about this right here? A little bit of a battle going on through the really only wide portion of the track. Looks like Kevin Parrish is right on the bumper of David Moore, who is a name we maybe haven't said a whole lot this year, but having a good run tonight up inside the top 15, and getting a little bit loose on the outside, and then, that's a flat corner, Corey. There was no banking, no rubber laid down to save you. That seems to be a trouble spot.
Yeah, exactly that. And here we come entering turn number 1, and that's going to be the Pizza Mobile of Ian Lane there. He will get by Moore, so Moore loses two positions in one corner, but you can see here right on the top of the shot, well, it looked as though Reese Gardner was going to make a move, but it was just his lane perspective there. Matt Malone right to Reese Gardner's back bumper. That would be for the third spot. Eero kind of hanging off around maybe a quarter to a half second off of Jack Sanchez's pace, which if you saw the practice sheet there, you saw how big of an advantage that Eero had on the board. So kind of impressive that Jack has managed to pick it up that much. But I will tell you, Matt Malone is just taking no prisoners here. He is going as close as physically possible through the toughest sectors of the track here and doing it fearlessly. Again, he is just riding the confidence off that win last week at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, whenever you get a win like that, it is going to boost your confidence quite a bit, and that is clearly the case. And I'll tell you what, Matt Malone, I think, is going to make this a 4-car battle for the leaders. We see a little bit of smoke. Somebody's into the wall. Bit of a checkup back there. Cars are slow.
A green car right here. That's Levi Powell. He may have been in Incidente here.
Levi Powell minus a bumper.
Oh no, that was the one. Was that Labano? No, that wasn't.
No, that was a different red car, I believe.
They look very, very similar here. They're going to get one more perspective here. 102. That's Adam Freese. I don't know why I keep thinking it's Chuck Labato here, but let's take a look at what instigated this spin. Here again, same spot we just had an issue a lap ago. Yeah, that was a little crosswinds there with that white car. Couldn't quite make that one out.
Yeah,
but
and you know, I think that started because of netcode. When he started to get hooked, I don't think they were actually touching. So unfortunate. Sometimes iRacing has netcode issues, and at a track that's this close quarters, they are generally a little bit more apparent than what you'd normally notice.
Yeah, sometimes that is indeed the case here. But thus far, we are just about halfway through tonight's efforts. And we have, we'll still see pit stops, of course. You never know how the pit stops will change things out. This is a track where you don't want to take any chances when it comes to fuel, of course, because this place being almost 4 miles long. So if you undercut your fuel, it's going to be very hard to save a lap here. So I do think pit stops will be a little bit longer here on the evening as we're playing the old IndyCar snake game here down the mountain straight here into turn number 2.
Yeah, the lead starting to extend just a little bit as Nam now 0.5 of a second, nearly 6 tenths of a second back. Reese Gardner still trying to take that from him, but again, just not too many passing opportunities here at Mount Panorama. We are going up the mountain and a little bit wide there. I don't think Jack meant to go quite that wide. Gave up some time. That opened up the door for Eero to get right back to him. And that's what you're going to see. You know, sometimes they're going to pull away a little bit. Sometimes they're going to give up that momentum. It's going to be a bit of a yo-yo effect at a track this difficult because nobody... Reese Gardner. I was just going to say, nobody on this track is going to hit the line every time. And Gardner being the example of that, just giving the outside wall a little bit of a love tap, which makes this a 4-car battle now because that brought Matt Malone into the mix as well, with Henriquez finally starting to close in on this lead pack where it took him a while, but he came from about 5-car lengths back now to the bumper of Matt Malone. So it took him a little while, but he is here and he's got a fast car. I'll
tell you, I wouldn't want to be in this position, Andre, being, a Henriquez, a Malone, or a Nick Beaver. I really wouldn't want to be at Henriquez after that contact into the Forest Elbows wall there. That will give Nick Beaver the chance now to get back into the top 5. But when you're in these tight confines, these tight snake trains through very, very difficult sectors of the track, you are under high pressure because if you screw up, as we've seen, you're going to screw everybody up. So nailing the line when there's so little room for error, I would feel a lot of pressure being in that, in that situation personally.
Yeah, it's kind of like the final race of the NASCAR Cup season. Anybody who's not in the Final Four is a little bit nervous. They don't want to mess with the championship battle, so they kind of feel timid in a sense. So it's kind of a game you play. How aggressive do I want to be? Obviously, I'm in the race. I have every right to try to win this thing. But how courteous do I want to be? Randall McGrew not being courteous to the track maintenance workers as they're going to have to do some landscaping.
Oh my goodness.
Matt Thompson from downtown.
I mean, to take that basketball analogy a little bit further, bang, in the words of Mike Breen there, as he dove it on in there. Yeah, we'll have to get a perspective of that is different than the one that I just had. So that was Matt Thompson here. If I could find him on my graphics here. Just give me one more second here. We'll go on board with Mr. Thompson and try to find where that three-pointer came from. If it will stay on this. Was it now, whether he was approaching that at a normal speed or whether they were that slow, we don't know. But what we do know is that contact happened either way.
Yeah, and, again, it was that final corner. There's something about it. Maybe it's the high speeds going in, drivers just misjudging the braking zone. And coincidentally, Randall McGrew, he was on one side of it a few laps ago. Now he was on the receiving end. So kind of unfortunate there for Mr. McGrew. But we are getting close to, well, I would assume we're getting close to green flag pit sequence. Well, it's road racing. Of course, it's a green flag pit sequence. But we are getting close to pitting, nonetheless. And it seems like every week that's gone on, and I don't know about last week, I wasn't here, but it seemed like every week that went on this season, Corey, they pushed it further and further. The first couple races, they split it in the middle. They came down 20, 21 minutes remaining. Then it was 18, then it was 17. And I think a couple weeks ago, we saw drivers hold out till 13 minutes remaining. So don't really know when these guys plan on coming down pit road, but it's got to be sometime soon.
Yeah, exactly that. Now, again, at a track like this, you probably are going to pit a little bit earlier there. Luis Henriquez kissed it in the grass there, but you did see Matt Malone try to make a killer dive there on Gardner. Here comes Gardner. Here comes Henriquez. Again, you can see the chicane sequence here entering the pits. I don't know why they just couldn't make that a straight sequence. They must have did that for some inexplicable reason, but either way, this will start bringing people in just past the halfway point here. And then we'll have to get a good barometer of what the pit stop times will be. You can see all the damaged vehicles there in the pits, but let's keep an eye with the timer here on Jack Sanchez.
And it is going to be...
And ultimately, this will give Eero Nam a lap lead as well, which is going to be, a nullification there for Jack, but he's going to take the right sides. 15-1. That's a long stop, 15-1, but then look at Reese Gardner there as they invisible battle through the pit exit there. That's a 3-second variance for Reese Gardner, so how much of that is tires, how much of that is additional fuel? I guess we'll find out in about 15 minutes.
And, it makes sense that Jack just took the right sides. Obviously, this track kind of goes counterclockwise for the most part, so you're turning left more often than not, which does put all the stress on those right sides. So kind of the reverse of Watkins Glen, I guess you could say. So we'll see if that tire advantage helps him at all. But I'll tell you, a 15-second stop is a long stop, Corey. That is definitely on the upper end for these guys, and that is time he does not want to give up. So what it's going to come down to now is how long is Eero Nam's stop going to be? What is he going to do for tires, fuel? I think the pit stop could dictate the outcome of this race big time, as Matt Malone in second place right now, beneficiary of drivers coming down pit road. Nick Beaver up on the podium also as a result of the sequence, currently sitting third. But let's see, does Eero come down this time? It's going to be just under 16 minutes remaining. If he doesn't come down this time, it'll be about another 2 minutes before he comes back around. So that would definitely be pushing it as they come down this long straightaway, way out to the grass almost, just kind of slinging it around the kink corner. And let's see, I think he is going to stay on the track, but no, haven't got there yet. On board now with the leader, Eero Nam. Is he going to give away? Look like it, Corey.
And I will say, as here comes Kevin Parrish, this is for Eero Nam. This is going to, well, that is what not to do. Is get yourself a 1X there entering the pits. But for Eero Nam, in my opinion, this should be the most conservative pit entry he has made all season, because all you need to do is not screw up. Like, run below the pit. I don't know if these have a limiter. I probably imagine they do. Don't speed. Don't get loose on entry. Don't get into the dirt on entry. Just literally coast into your stall at 75%. There is no need to push it and risk the mistake, because that mistake could be what separates the championship.
Yeah, just no mistakes. Again, you don't have to win it. You don't have to be perfect. So if you feel like you're a little bit on edge, if the car isn't handling very well, if you're starting to get a little bit fatigued even, just back it off a little bit. You can afford to do that when all you have to do is finish inside the top 10. But pit road, a busy place. You saw that camera shot. That is the majority of the field. Jack Sanchez, Reese Gardner. Reese almost looked like he was going to beat Jack out of the pits. That would have been huge. But unfortunately did not beat him out of the pit road. Now he is about 3 car lengths back with his faster pit stop time at 12.2. Kevin Parrish seemed to have gained quite a bit as well, though, because he was nowhere near Reese Gardner when this all began, and now he is...
Whoa! See?
Ganzai Drifto.
There you go. But and I'll be very curious how this does shake out, because Jack Sanchez did have that super extended pit stop. Everybody that we're seeing is 12 to 13 seconds, and he was at a 15.1. I'm trying to, we'll have to wait a lap or two to see, but Eero Nomning get off the final corner that time, and now coming down the Conrad straight here, pardon me, Matt Malone's going to go for that lead. He has the speed, he has the confidence, but he doesn't have the track position heading into the chase, or does he? Yes, he does.
Yes, they actually both hit the wall. I'm pretty sure Matt Malone tagged it and Eero Nom tagged it, but Eero lost a little bit more momentum. Now, this is the perfect opportunity for Eero to pit. You've lost the lead. You're not really gaining anything by staying out much longer. Just come down pit road, see if you can get some fresh tires if you opt for them, but just get your car.
Matthew staying out. But here comes Eero again. Conservative entry, and didn't think it was that conservative, but he did it, so that's all that matters.
No, that was conservative compared to some of the entries we've seen, but it was still very well executed, very fast, and that's what he's looking to do. So coming down pit road. Now, my curiosity is whether or not he actually takes tires, because, again, remember, that was a 15.5 stop out of Sanchez, so this will give us an idea where he's going to cycle out roughly down into pit road. The jack stand does go up on the right side, so taking a similar strategy. Phil Keck behind him. Didn't see the jack stand go up on that car, so Phil opting for no tires. A 12.8, so that is much faster than Sanchez. Let's see where he is going to cycle out. There's Sanchez. I think Eero's got him. He does.
Well, what I was worried about was the blue cone there, and if he merged too quick, but I think he did just fine. But much to my surprise, Jack Sanchez with that slow stop blends right out behind Eero, and he wastes no time on the mountain straight. He's going to go dive bomb into Quarry here. He needs to clear him because you don't want to battle up the mountain, and he will not need to. Jack Sanchez back to P1 again. He's been the one winning the races all this season, but Eero has just had the overall consistency.
Yeah, so that was almost exactly how Jack took the lead at the start of the race. Oh, into the outside wall again for Jack. But I was going to say, he does have the slight advantage, and I think Eero had no choice but to kind of give him that position, because right now Eero's right sides are a little bit cold. He hasn't brought him up to heat yet, whereas Jack's been out here making laps. His tires are up to temp, so that car's feeling good. Now, obviously, once Eero gets up to temp, they're going to be evened out, but for the time being, Jack was able to get around him. A little bit further back, Nick Beaver, actually up ahead, I should say, Nick Beaver and Matt Malone, the two holdouts, the only two drivers on the track that have not pitted. Malone going to stretch it all the way out to about 10 minutes roughly if he pits this time, which I'd imagine he will. Nick Beaver sticking to that rear bumper. He has not let them get away so far tonight. But again, Corey, every week we're just stretching it further and further. I think this is the first time I've seen somebody stretch it to 10 minutes.
Yeah, especially on a circuit this long, and it just makes you wonder how short of a pit stop is he planning on making here. As I'm scrolling through my back timing screen, not much of a surprise. They must be running on fumes at this point. Here comes Matt Malone in. He will come to the attention of his crew, and he went full send on the back end of that one there. So hopefully he did not aggravate the speeding police here. But what I want to point out is that number 43 car, Andre. Take a look at this time right there. 10.4. That's 2.5 seconds faster than anybody that we've really ever seen. But here comes Matt Malone and company. And let me pull up my track map that I forgot that I actually had set up for today's race. And Matt Malone here is somewhere in and about the exit of the corner here, and he's going to merge out. Where is Jack Sanchez? Yeah, Matt Malone, he's going to come out with the lead easily here. And Malone had an 11-second pit stop, but because he just pit, that's more plausible. I could believe that. Now, can Matt Malone go back-to-back? He's going to have a battle on his hands. Speaking of a battle, here come our championship duo. They're going door-to-door here down the mountain straight.
Yeah, I think Ero's going to get him back here. He does have slightly fresher tires. Now that they're up to temp, he might have an easy time getting around Sanchez. Sanchez forced to that outside groove, which has been beneficial to nobody so far tonight. He does give up the position, but like you said, the ultimate benefactor here to all of the pitting, Matt Malone. He stayed out longer than anybody, and he was able to get all the way
Beaver.
up to first place, and Beaver as well in second place. So he qualified fifth up to second. This has been a fantastic night for that 10 machine, but I'll tell you, this is looking good for Malone and Beaver, because we've not seen a whole lot of passing up inside the top three. There's been passing everywhere else on the track, but in terms of the podium, we've really not seen much passing. So if they can just hit their marks and keep those Mustangs wide, then they might be rolling away with a 1-2.
Yeah, we're looking at roughly 5 laps to go on the timer here, so you can do your math at about 2.5 minutes, divide that into 8:30. I'm not going to do that. You can if you'd like to. But that's about roughly almost 2 seconds back to Ero, and Ero and Jack, they are battling off and on, which will not help their lap time. So you have Beaver, who is just out of slipstream range of Malone. So Malone is basically in a boat right now where he is kind of in control of his own destiny. Let's take a look at the lap times here on the evening. We'll kind of compare. 27.4 with a 27.1 being his best. If you go back to Ero there, the best lap's not that far off, but he's not going to be running PBs right now in this traffic. We'll keep this graphic up here as he heads through the back end of the circuit here. This is trying to get by Nick Beaver. But actually, Andre, I'll retort my thought, because it was a 1.25 seconds. Now it's only about a 1.5 seconds as they've been battling. So I definitely think these two are going to get there if they don't wreck each other in the process.
Yeah, they're going to get there, but I'll tell you what, they are.
Lap 26. So yeah, that's a PB on the day for Mr. Euro Dom here, while he was making passes, mind you.
Yeah, he is flying right now. Absolutely flying. Race recap, 4 laps to go roughly, so says the timer.
This was just to get the last graphic on the bottom. So the 22.6 is our best lap of the race. That was Mr. Parrish.
Yeah, Parrish in 6th.
Beaver is going in parachute mode right now. Second, now he's back to 6th in a matter of about a lap.
Yeah, he is really booking it. He's got speed, and he's shown it time and time again. I think, going back to what I said about this being a bit of a qualifying race, he just didn't qualify all that well, so he's been kind of marred in traffic, unable to make too many passes. But he's got a good car, and he's been good all year. So if he sticks around, comes back next year, that's going to be a name to look out for. Meanwhile, Matt Malone, buddy, I know Matt is, he's a seasoned road racer. He's probably calm, cool, and collected, but I can say if I was Matt Malone right now, and I saw Ironam and Jack Sanchez coming as fast as they are coming down this mountain, getting bigger in the rearview mirror, I am shaking. I am absolutely panicking at this point, because they're not slowly reeling him in. They are, they're at Mach 1 right now. What do you even do?
Well, at this point in the race, Matt Malone, he had probably, I don't know how he didn't hit the wall there, about a 4th place car here today, so he knew I had to do something. And in his seat right now, obviously there's probably hundreds of people watching his live stream right now. He probably knew I'm probably not going to be able to hold him off, but I can at least put myself in a chance where maybe I can. And I think that's where he is right now. He has those slightly older tires for whatever that may be. But here we are now heading into the chase, and Ero is there, Jack is there, and, well, Matt Malone, I don't think he cares here, as Ero is going to get stacked up there back into the clutches of Sanchez heading into Murray's corner.
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to hold him off here. I don't know. Sanchez really slinging him around the outside. You can see the counter steer in full effect there, turning right to go left, but I don't think it's going to be enough out of Sanchez. He does concede the position. Matt Malone holding on for another lap. He's got to hold on for 4 minutes 50 seconds if he wants to get to that checkered flag and take 2 consecutive wins here at the end of the season. But we got some lap traffic up ahead. Can't quite tell who it is. It is a purple car. That's all I know. He is going to move around the outside. Good job by the lap car.
That's Greg Brockway, that is.
Yep, Brockway making himself as small as possible there, doing what he needs to do.
Parrish here.
Yes, sir. He's making a move on Reese Gardner. That's going to be up one more. That's P4 for Parrish.
He might catch these guys at this rate. Remember, I talked about him earlier. What's he doing in the mid-teens? And as long as Matt Malone stays in front of these guys, he's going to hold them up. And that's going to make this front conga train longer and longer. And I don't know what's going to happen first. Is Matt Malone going to get past for the lead, or is Jack Sanchez going to get around Iro Nam because he is just murdering? And he's going for a pass here, climbing the mountain, and Nam lets him go.
Yeah, I think Nam was playing it smart there. Jack Sanchez is getting aggressive, and if you block him, you might just find yourself wrecking. So at this point, if Iro Nam wrecks, that's about the only way he could lose the championship. So playing it smart, going back to third now. How smart does Matt Malone play it? And a little bit of a love tap to the bumper. Matt, he doesn't have a dog in this fight. He's not here for the championship. He's out of contention mathematically.
Oh, my goodness.
So does he get aggressive? Does he block? It looks like he will, but I'll tell you what, this is something. This is a great battle up front.
This is coming down the Conrad straight for... This is going to be close, Andre. Look, no, I think we're going to get 2 to go here. So remember, about 2:28, 2:29 is an average lap here coming down the Conrad straight. But here comes Jack Sanchez to the right side here coming down the straightaway. And he's going to clear him just in that little bit of straightaway. Amazing slipstream here. Matt Malone down to second, and he's not going to dive it on into the chase to try to get it back. So maybe he could stay in a slipstream range coming here into Murray's corner. He's still close enough, but is he going to put himself in that position? Certainly is. He's going to go passenger side, maybe try for a crossover. Sanchez with a defensive line, but I just don't know if Malone has enough in the tank. And is this going to be white flag? No, I think we're going to get a bonus lap one out of this one. That could be bad for Malone.
I don't see Barney waving the flag, and you're exactly right. That could be bad for Malone. I don't think that car's got the speed to really hold on much longer as this conga line has extended like you said it would. We got Kevin Parrish reeling in Iro Nam and Matt Malone. Jack Sanchez doing everything he can to keep them at bay. And then a whole slew of cars behind them. Reese Gardner as well. You see Jack switching lanes there. And a little bit loose for Matt Malone there. But he's able to hold on to it. Iro Nam sitting third. The question is, what does Kevin Parrish do? I think he's the fastest car on the track, but that is a whole lot of cars to pass.
Yes, it is, and he's going to need a little bit of assistance by somebody here. And Iro Nam, I mean, how many free points do you want to give up? I mean, luckily he's only in third. I mean, there's 2 behind him. He could go back to 5th and it'd still be fine, but I mean, you just don't want to, the racer in you just doesn't want to make those sacrifices here. But Malone is still tagging along here. He's not, he's not right to the back bumper, but he's staying in distance here. And all it is, it's a matter of getting a good run there off of 18, off of Forest Elbow 19, and getting the run to have the slipstream down the Conrad straight. That's where the passes have been made over and over and over. So Matt has to really put pressure on himself to get down the hill here. He's starting to lose the slipstream range. Here is where it matters. The left-hander here into the dipper. Now he's about 8/10ths back. I don't think the Conrad straight's going to help him enough here.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be quite enough. I think he's just kind of outside of slipstream distance as well, at least too far out to really benefit from it a whole lot. So Sanchez out to really the biggest lead we've seen all night. It's crazy to say that 0.7 of a second is the biggest lead we've seen, but it really is. So he is starting to check out. He's going to have one more time around. A little bit of smoke action in front of the leaders. That's not what they want to see. Fortunately, lap car getting out of the groove. Meanwhile, look at this battle for second place. Kevin Parrish forcing the issue, and he is going to try to get around Iro. He's on the outside. Not sure how well that's going to work. This corner has historically not been very good for the outside. Look at Reese Gardner sending it in there, Corey. He got to the door. I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, the hometown hero is going to try to get himself a top 5 here, but here comes Eero with the dive under Matt Malone. Matt will sacrifice that second spot. Eero will get back to second, but a second arrears of Jack Sanchez, who's trying to get another win here on the season, even if he doesn't get the title. End the season with that victory confidence. But look at this little quattro of drivers here coming down mountain straight into turn number 2 quarry corner here. Matt Malone doesn't want to give. He wants that interview, Andre. He wants to talk to you, but he's going to have to pass Eero, and I just don't think he has enough in the abilities to do it right now. No,
I don't think he's going to be able to get around him, at least not at the moment. Coming down the mountain might be a different story. That seems to be
comes Reese.
Everybody's been getting aggressive, but yeah, Gardner getting back up on the podium. He gets clear, so that is putting Reese Gardner, the home track hero, up into third. He's trying to get an interview here for the final race of the season, as he is going to make a smooth pass on Matt Malone up into third. Up ahead, Eero Nam about a
I wonder if Matt's in fuel save mode right now, because remember, this was kind of a bonus lap. I think he's out.
Oh, he might be. He is way off.
Yeah, he's clutching it. We got a bonus lap, so Jack Sanchez has no fear with this whatsoever. Remember, we hit the stripe with about a second to spare. And remember, Shades of Detroit gave us that bonus lap, but if anybody's going to be good, it's going to be Jack Sanchez, who's going to kiss the final wall just for pride there. He's going to come off the final corner, down the Conrad straight for the final time here. It ain't going to be a championship, but it looks like it's going to be a win there, Andre.
Yeah, it will be another win on the season, and just goes to show the value of consistency. Sanchez has won a lot of races this year, but it doesn't look like he's going to drive away with the championship, because Eero Nam has just been up inside the podium week in, week out. He had 2 bad weeks, but we have 2 drop weeks. So for all the weeks that counted in points, he was up there and doing well. As they come to close this lap out, the final lap of the season, they're going to go down pit road, down into this left-hander one more time. Eero makes a big send, tries to get close, doesn't get there. Sanchez in the 23 is going to win here at Mount Panorama. Eero Nam P2. Kevin Parrish works his way up to... Whoa, no, I don't know why the scoring and timing put Kevin Parrish there. It was Reese Gardner, the home track hero, with a podium. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, we've got some more cars working their way through. But
here's Chuck Labana. We haven't really talked about the amateur class, mainly because there really wasn't much of a battle there. We saw with Charles Hosea going out early, but Chuck Labano, 15th place effort here. He's going to do his little swerves here, and he's going to celebrate a 15th, but that's going to be an amateur win here for the 113, so I want to give him his congratulations. And ultimately there, Matt Malone has to settle for a 10th there. Again, he just wasn't banking on that bonus lap. At least we would imagine. There goes the 113 doing his little victory donuts there, and everybody else will be concluding their laps. Still got some drivers finishing out. I don't see any active battles there, though. So, again, want to congratulate our provisional champion, Eero Nam, and our race winner there, Jack Sanchez. So we are going to go to the top of the podium, the top of the board here, and let's go ahead and give you the final rundown of results here. We'll have our interviews, and we will have our league admin, Raymond McGrew, here over the course of the rest of the evening. He's going to pop in here and have a few words as well. But let's go ahead and give you the final rundown here tonight. Getting that win. He did everything he could do, but it's just going to come up a little bit short. Jack Sanchez gets the win. Eero Nam, our provisional champion, is going to be in second. Reese Gardner with a third. Good comeback for him. Kevin Parrish with a fourth. Get a good comeback for him. He didn't qualify too great. Taco Phil, back after the eclipse, gets a 5th place here tonight. David Moore, a solid run. Luis Henriquez in 7th. Nick Beaver, he might have to change his car number because now he's up running better than 10th. He's going to be at 8th. Hoop Chalk, and then Matt Malone drops back to 10th, presumably with little fuel.
Yeah, I think he was pretty much out and coasting down the mountain. Dan Ott, or Dahan 02, get that in one more time this season. P11 in that 29. Luke Sedenga brings it up to P12. David Finch looked like he was going to get a top 5 tonight, but unfortunately that scuffle with Randall McGrew put him 13th. P14, David Fernandez. Chuck Labano going to take the Amateur Series Championship and 15th in the race tonight. Randall McGrew, P16. Ian Lane in the Pizza Mobile falls back to 17th. Jeff Andrus in the 104, P18. Aaron Bray, That Face Bray, P19. And Mike Nickham is going to be 20th.
21st through 30th is as follows. Jeff Besnard, he did a pretty good for his running here on the evening. It's a 21st, another Aussie there. Brandon Smith, 22nd. Matthew Guzenda, 23rd. And Antoine Siderski, 24th. Dave Blair with a 25th. Tom Went, 26th. And then Kemp Brooks, John Casey, and Greg Brockway rounding out our top 30 and our final page of results here as follows. Got Jay Little in 31st, Stefan Price 32nd, Matt Thompson in 33rd, Ed Sancinelli 34th, Levi Powell 35th, Adam Freese in 36th, Greg Hartman 37th, Royce in 38th, Charles Hosea having those shifter issues, didn't even get to put a hat in the ring here today, 39th, and then Ken Estep in 30th. So let's see if we got all of our guys in a bunch here for our post-race show. We got to get Mr. Sanchez. We got Mr. Nam here. Again, I don't see our race winner yet, but perhaps he'll pop in just a moment. Our amateur, do we have Mr. Labano here on standby?
I don't see him.
Well, we'll go ahead and give you the opportunity while we're waiting, Andre. We can go ahead and give you our champion and get that one out of the way. Our provisional champion, that is.
All right. Mr. Nam, you got a copy?
Yep.
Well, Eero, it is another championship, at least unofficially. Points haven't been tallied, but it's looking like you are going to be the champion after tonight. It's just been a solid season. I don't think you got the most wins out of anybody, but you were the most consistent, and that's what you build championships out of, is just clean, consistent podiums week in and week out. Never really had a bad week. The drop weeks got rid of the two that you had, and you got another trophy in the case.
Yeah, it was very tough race. I think Sanchez was trying to slow down the race. I think that's my opinion, he did, but yeah, it was very tough. Just had to check my position. I didn't know the points, I didn't want to know, so I was just racing one race by one.
That's an interesting approach, not even looking at the points, just going at it and trying to get the best finish you can. I can definitely respect that, but essentially the situation you were in going in was you had to finish inside the top 10. Anything else, as long as you were inside the top 10, you were good to go, and you were there all night. So again, a great race, and you and Sanchez put on quite a show. I don't know if he was trying to slow up the race like you said there, but either way, whatever was going on, it was fun to watch. And man, you are still just the pick of the litter, the class of the field. We were told at the beginning of the year, look out for Eero Nam. You're going to get real sick of seeing him up front. But I'll tell you what, you're still impressed even with us having high expectations.
I didn't have time. I was working and I was racing now. So yeah, it's really tough to race in the 5 in the morning. So yeah, maybe more practice. But yeah, it's very tough. The competition was tough.
Yeah, tough competition. And racing at 5 in the morning, buddy, I can't even imagine that. So good job there. And again, congratulations on the championship. Is there any shout-outs you'd like to make?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the league admins, all the drivers here, of course, and all the sponsors, and you guys in the ribbon booth.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Eero. We're going to let you go celebrate, and we'll be seeing you next season.
Yes, yeah.
All right, well, I think I can grab Mr. Sanchez here. All right, we got our race winner, and you gave it everything except, well, you gave it everything and the kitchen sink, and I think you got the wins title on the season, but just a couple points shy of the championship course provisionally there. But ultimately, that was some great battling there, Jack. How did you pull that one off there tonight?
Well, I'll be honest, when I took the lead there on lap 1, first off, we have to look at this little scuffle Eero and I had. It's a little bit low, but I got to do what I can to try to take it if I can file a protest here, but it's probably just racing. Besides that, I just had to, keep the pack tight and hope for hope for any chaos, because you know he basically needed to finish like 12th for me to take it from him.
Yeah, and obviously a track like Bathurst makes it very easy to make those mistakes, but it seemed like from our perspective, we saw Malone get ate out by the fuel situation. It seemed like we almost had a situation like Belle Isle on our hands there, where we kind of got a bonus lap by about a lap or two, and we had noticed you had a pretty long pit stop relative to everybody else. Were you kind of forecasting that this race could have that extra lap and you wanted to have that extra padding?
You know, actually, there's apparently a little ghost wall that someone said they've already filed. It's a bug. I hit something in my pit stall, and so it gave me 2 seconds of optional repairs, like while the tires were, while the car was falling down from the tires.
Oh, wow. So you're saying a track that's been on the service for 13 years still has a bug. But either way, it's a great season, man, and I look forward to seeing you next season, whenever that is, season 7, probably late summer, I imagine. Given what you've had this season, do you think you'll have enough to perhaps give Euro another run for his money?
Yeah, I'm going to have to come back for sure, because I was not expecting to be so competitive at the start, so I didn't really give it the same dedication here I did in the last half, and then yeah, you know, we'll see how it goes. And yeah, really appreciate you guys broadcasting here for us. It was a lot of fun having you. You did a great job.
All right, thanks. And we'll be back for you in the fall, man. Congrats on the win. We'll talk to you.
Cheers.
All right, and now we have our amateur win on the season. That goes to Mr. Labano, and Andre has him.
Mr. Labano, you got a copy?
I have a copy.
Well, Chuck, we were telling Nam that just having good, consistent finishes is what you build championships on. Sometimes it's more valuable than wins, but you got a whole lot of amateur wins this season, and you were consistent. So just hitting them with the 1-2, and you're walking away with the amateur championship.
Yeah, you know, I figured the best way to guarantee my win today was to actually win. But no, it was a lot of hard work. My team is the reason I got here. I happen to be consistent, but they all helped me in one way or another.
Yeah, obviously having a team effort, everybody trying to get behind you, that helps a lot. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the driver behind the wheel and whether or not they have it, and you definitely had it. I got to ask you about Mount Panorama. I can't think of a more nerve-wracking track to end the season on. You know, obviously you had a bit of a points cushion, but just making a lap around this track's got to be absolutely terrifying in these Mustangs. What was the mentality going into tonight?
Oh, my mentality is the last time I was here in an AMS race, it was Edgar and I fighting for the win, and we both ended up getting taken out in the last 2 turns. So that's been going through my head all week long. I'm going to say half the race, because I did have a cushion on either side, so I got to think about it quite a bit. But mostly it was just, shut up, hit my marks, do what I need to do. And it worked out this time. After 3 times in a row being second place. 3 seasons.
Yeah, that's a long time coming. And second place, I've said it for a long time, I think second place is the most frustrating position in the field. I would rather finish 15th than second sometimes. So getting to the top spot on the podium, finally taking that championship, that's got to be a huge weight off your shoulders. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out or thank?
Oh yeah, individually, the guys on the team, Edgar, who runs it, he does a great job setting up the practices. Matt, who probably should have won this race today, he helped with setups and lines and ran laps with me. He probably ran more laps than anyone here. Mike Thompson, he's the guy that, brings me back to reality when I start getting in my own head. And an extra special thanks to Tom, who sent me a part for my Thrustmaster shifter. It turns out when I took the shifter off, the brace underneath was broken. So there is probably an 80% chance that I would have lost my shifter during this race.
That is awesome that he was able to help you out there and make sure that you were able to bring home this championship. Probably the most valuable shifter you've ever had at this point. So.
Yeah. It was the best thing that UPS could ever bring me.
Exactly. Well, again, congratulations on the championship. We'll be seeing you next season. Thanks for your time, Chuck.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Did a good job.
All right. Amateur champion out of the booth. And I think that means he goes pro next season, right, Corey?
I don't know all the ins and outs here. I would like to say, as we bring Jeff Anderson, it looks like here that they were all trying to do the Bathurst jump here at the end of the Conrad Straight, and I don't think they had the power to do so, but that is interesting to watch here. But one of the guys here, second in the amateur class here tonight, Jeff Andrus. Quiet run from our perspective here today, but a good run. I think the first time we've talked to you here on the evening. What was your night like here on the mountain?
Well, that's like Chuck always says, and it's boring in the middle.
Well, it's boring, but ultimately, as someone else once said, and I don't know the quotes, a clean race, a boring race can sometimes be a good race, so that works out for you here today. Obviously, we had Charles Hosea, one of the amateur guys, not able to race here tonight with some technical issues, but you kind of took the gap there. You only finished a couple spots behind Chuck. Is this a place that you kind of have confidence or you have a liking to?
Yeah, it's just been a bad season for me. Last year I did a lot better. It's just this one I kept wrecking out.
Yeah, so I guess the competition level ticking up a little bit more in the league. So season 7 obviously coming around in the fall. Are we going to be able to see you maybe getting a little more practice in and seeing if you can get some of your old form back?
You bet.
All right, well, we'll congratulate you on your second place here today. We got our league admin popping in here for season wrap-up, so we'll talk to you soon, Jeff. Congrats.
All right, thanks a lot. Tell Randall thanks, too.
Will do. Man, a few words there. But now we will bring in our race admin here, and a very competitive driver nonetheless, Mr. Randall McGrew. Whoa! Well, I just bring your car on the screen, and you were airborne there. So that was an interesting visual to bring you into the booth on, but congrats on a good season as a driver, and I know you got some words here as a boss man you want to give us as well.
Yeah, so what an awesome season. This league just keeps getting better and better every year. I got to give a big shout out to all the drivers. If not for them showing up every week and the numbers that they show up in and racing clean, racing hard, we wouldn't have this kind of show, this kind of league. So really props go to the drivers. I'm just trying to facilitate good racing. So we knew going into this race that the clean driver was actually already wrapped up. So we can congratulate David Fernandez in the Pro Division and David Blair in the Am Division. It's the Dave Show for Mr. Clean this season. They're both going to get $20. And we have the provisional results for the podiums in each division. Nam is going to squeak out the win over Jack Sanchez by 9 points, and then a pretty sizable drop back to third place. Fabian Zweyer beats out Matt Malone to get that bottom step of that podium. And then over in the amateur division, Chuck Labano seals the victory today with a good finish ahead of me. Second place, Matt Thompson, about 36 points behind him. And then third place, Charles Jose. You know, the guy's fast. He just had some unfortunate issues this season, tonight included. So bad luck for Charles. Hopefully next season we'll see him do something really good.
Yeah, it seemed like from what we heard from talking to a few of those drivers, even Jack Sanchez, he said he put more emphasis in later in the season when he realized that he had speed. I almost wonder if Charles Hosea, he had a shifter issue, but makes you look forward to season 7. We'll be looking forward to that as long as we didn't get ourselves booted with some of our commentary here. So all in all, we're looking forward to season 7. Any little tidbits or any sprinkles of information you can give us to look forward to?
Well, we got about 12 or 13 weeks until the next season starts. We typically start at the midway point in the odd iRacing season. So we got a little bit of a break here. We're going to be doing a lot of polling, putting some feelers out there, getting some testing, trying to freshen up the schedule a little bit. There's a lot of new tracks that have come out that we haven't really looked at or touched too much. So we're going to see if any of them are really good for racing in this car. Try to get them on the schedule. Some slight changes to format maybe, and try to keep the good positive vibes that we've had going on for 6 seasons into a 7th. This is the first time we've had to turn anybody away, so we're going to be building out our registration system a little bit better to handle that waiting list and trying to get drivers into the car earlier, and just trying to have the most competitive league that we can have and still having a good time.
Well, you're doing just that thus far. We've had a blast with it, and if there's anything that we have learned, both as NASCAR fans and just watching a lot of races, typically when the track isn't meant for the car, those tend to be the best races. So we'll vote for those here in the booth, but whatever you do, man, we're looking forward to coming back in the fall, and congrats on the season as a driver and as a boss, man.
I'm pretty sure you can put these guys on a 10-mile straight length of road and it'll still be an exciting race. I'm blessed to have such a good lineup of drivers. I can pretty much put the car anywhere I want. We're going to have a show.
Yep, and that's what we like seeing. So we'll let you go, man. Thanks for the words, and we will catch you, I guess, probably late July, early August, whenever the cookie crumbles.
Yep, keep tuned. If you're not in the Discord, you can hit me up on iRacing, Randall McGrew. You can hit me up on Discord, Finney McFinger, and I can get you that link to that Discord. Join the Discord. That's where you're going to find all your information for the league. And thanks to you guys. You guys put on an awesome broadcast.
Appreciate those words, my friend. Go ahead and talk to your boys, and we'll see you soon. All right, Andre. So again, I've just been watching this B-roll footage of Randall's car decimate as if it was a Wreckfest car there. So that was fun. But again, this was our first season here of AMS. And again, this was a long-term partnership that we've kind of inked with these guys. So looking forward to what comes. But our Tuesdays are going to be free for a little bit. I can't wait for these guys to get back on track.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Again, this has been one of my favorite series to cover in quite some time, and I don't mean to play favorites or anything, but it's just been really fun week in and week out. These guys have put on a good show every week. I literally don't think I left a single race this year thinking, man, that was a drag or that was boring. No, every race was just phenomenal, which I don't think I've ever been able to say about any series as long as I've been commentating. So definitely looking forward to the next season, and gonna miss the Tuesdays.
Yeah, certainly the case here, but one thing I do want to bring up, because I did not do this read earlier, the American Muscle Series also raises awareness for the American Society for Suicide Prevention. AFSP saves lives and brings hope to those affected by suicide. They're a voluntary health organization that gives those affected by suicide a nationwide community, empowered by research, education, and advocacy to take action against this leading cause of death. Together, we can stop suicide. So yes, you can stay tuned for all the other content here on the channel. We'll be back live tomorrow night with the Spartan Sim Racing League from Atlanta, and then we'll have double duty on Thursday with E-Car and Red Sox season finale, and we'll be back Saturday night for the Spartan Master Series at Talladega. That's going to be Corey and Andre signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.